This is the Logitech MX Vertical, and this is the Logitech Lift. Today I'm going to do an in-depth comparison of these two mice, and at the end I'm going to let you know my thoughts on which one I think might suit you better. So without skipping a beat, let's get right on into it. Now first up is the MX Vertical. Inside of the box you have the mouse, you have the dongle, you have a cable in order to connect it to your computer or charge it, you have an info sheet, and you have the safety information sheet. Now when I first got this mouse, I was quite impressed with the overall style of the mouse. The mouse has ribs going along the side, which help with gripping, although you don't really need help with gripping the mouse overall, as the outside is a grippable rubber. As a normal mouse, you have your left and right click, a scroll wheel, and here you have forward and backwards buttons. There's a button on top that's similar to the MX line that opens up all the windows on your monitor at one time. This mouse is rechargeable via USB-C, which is very nice, and on the bottom you're able to turn on and off the mouse. Right now the mouse is off, and to turn it on you would just simply slide it forward. This mouse can connect up to 3 different devices, but also with Logitech's system you can travel from one computer over to the next with the Logitech app. In order to connect via Bluetooth, you just select which device you want to use. I've already programmed 1 and 2 to my computers, and once you get to one that's available, it'll blink quickly. If you would like to reassign a Bluetooth device, you go to the number that you want and you hold down the button until the light starts flashing. This mouse can be used to connect to your computer via Bluetooth, via a dongle, or via the cable that the mouse comes with. The overall feel of the mouse and hand is very nice compared to a conventional mouse. Being that this mouse is vertical, your hand is going to sit in what's called a handshake position. Now this mouse for me is a little bit big, which means when I rest my hand comfortably on the end of the mouse, my finger doesn't reach the back key on the mouse. I would have to move my hand a lot higher up onto the mouse and let my hand rest on the mouse itself. Now the problem with that is my hand slips off of the mouse because the grip isn't that grippy, otherwise I think it would mess up your hand. And it's still more comfortable for me to lay my hand on my table and just gently grasp the mouse and move it back and forth. Now the movement with this mouse, which makes it so functional, is that you're not using a normal movement like this with the mouse, which is not very healthy for your wrist. You're using your wrist in this direction, which is much more natural for your wrist. Now the difference in that and moving the mouse like this that I found to be the most difficult in using these vertical mouses is when you want to move straight across the screen. You make this movement, but it's actually an arc movement compared to when you're using another mouse and you move the mouse in this direction, it is a much neater straight line. It doesn't take very long to get used to, so don't let that scare you off of the vertical mouse. One option that I do think they should have included here for the MX line is a different scroll wheel. Now for the Lift, what comes in the box is the mouse and an instruction manual. Now you might be thinking, hey, is that all that comes into the box? And yes, because it doesn't have an internal rechargeable battery, and thus it doesn't need charging, and thus it won't connect via a cable. Now, however, in a compartment underneath the mouse, you press down on this indentation of a button down here, the bottom pops open, and you can remove the bottom, where inside a dongle is located very accessibly and conveniently, as well as a spot for a AA battery. Now this doesn't come with a AA battery installed, so install it. You just line up the plus and the minus. Now the plus is on the outside, so you want to put the minus in first and insert it as so. If you're not going to be using the dongle, I suggest to store it inside of the bottom of the mouse. And you can see this is attached with magnets to the bottom, so just simply slide it back in and release. Now the buttons on the mouse are very similar to that of the MX Vertical. It has a left and right clicker, a scroll wheel, and back and forth buttons. This button is a multi-purpose button as well as on the MX Vertical. Connecting this mouse is also the same with the exception of the cable option. Once you turn it on with this switch on the bottom, red is off, green is on, you have 3 computers you can connect to. To switch the connection, you just press the button to light up the 1, 2, or 3. When the light is blinking fast, you're able to connect it. Once you've connected it to your computer and you would like to reconnect it to a different computer, you can hold down this button, wait until the light is blinking quickly, and then it will be discoverable to your computer. You can also use the Logitech app to switch seamlessly between your computer screens if you have it installed on both devices. Now I find the Lift much more comfortable to hold as it is a much smaller mouse, you can see in comparison next to the MX Vertical, and I think it fits much better in the hand as my fingers extend past the top of the mouse. My thumb also reaches both the back and forward buttons on the side of the mouse, whereas on the MX Vertical, my thumb doesn't quite reach the forwardmost button and I'm unable to click it. The clicks on these mouses are quite different. First, this is the MX Vertical. You can hear it's quite clicky. These buttons on the back are not very loud at all. It is the exact opposite on the Vertical, where the back buttons are quite loud and the forward buttons are very silent. The scroll wheel on the Lift is very silent as well. You can hardly hear it, whereas on the MX Vertical, it is a clicky sound. Both mouses are adjustable to a DPI of 4000 inside of the Logitech app, so you have very accurate control with both of the mice. The last major difference between these two mice is, like I said before, is the battery capacity. The MX Vertical on the left has USB-C charging, which is very nice if you're going to have a charged device. And the Logitech Lift here on the right only has a battery, but don't worry, the battery is rated to last up to 2 years. Now the grip on both of these is more or less the same. They both have a very nice rubber on the outside that is textured, so you won't be slipping around. All in all, I think it's going to come down to your hand size. As both of these are both vertical mouses, you really just need one that's going to fit into your hand. If you have very large hands or very long fingers, you can definitely go with the MX Vertical. However, if your hands are average size or smaller, the Lift is going to be the one that you need to choose because the MX Vertical is very large. Now between these two, I think the pros and cons more or less outweigh each other, and it's going to be specific to how big your hand is. I think the vertical mouse is very nice to use after you get used to the new grip. Now if you decide you want to purchase one of these mice, there will be a link in the description below, which you can also use to price check the mice. Now in this video I am doing a free giveaway for one of these mice to one lucky person. It'll be your choice of which one you want. All you have to do is leave a comment in the comment section below, also stating that you want to be entered into this draw, as well as like the video and be subscribed to the channel. Now that wraps it up for this video. Now if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment section below and I will get back to you. As always, stay practical and I'll see you in the next one.